I'm Michael Bream with EV West, and today we're going to give you a quick little walkthrough of the 1991 Toyota MR2 that we did an all-electric conversion on. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the components under the hood and some of the components under the rear engine compartment, kind of give you a quick idea of the car, and then we'll go for a little drive. All right, let's go. Okay, so here we are back at the engine compartment on our 1991 MR2. The great thing about the MR2 is it's a mid-engine configuration, which gives you really good balance between by mounting the motor components between the axles. So in the engine compartment right here we have our Elcon PFC 2500 charger. It's a great little unit. It will charge at 110 volts as well as 220 volts. In this configuration we're set up for level 2 charging with a J1772 connector in the gas cap. Over here we have our 600 watt DC-DC converter. This is down here in the corner we have our Curtis 1238 AC motor controller, and on the back side of that we have our EV West chill plate. So this is a water-cooled configuration, so you can do highway speeds and all kinds of stuff without worrying about the controller overheating. Down here we have the HPVS AC50 motor. It's a great little AC motor, super reliable, and that's hooked up to our adapter plate and our stock transaxle. We're using the stock 5-speed transaxle connected to the stock Toyota clutch, and it's a great little reliable unit. So now that we've looked at the engine compartment, let's take a look at some of the batteries. Okay, so here we are at the back of the car. You know, the great thing about this conversion is there's really not much to see here. What we did is we recessed the battery box low enough that the customer has basically maintained their stock trunk space. And this is great. He's got, our customer has a car cover and some extra cables and some car detailing stuff in there. So there's really not much to show back here, but we want you to know that half of our battery pack is situated in the trunk space, but we really haven't sacrificed any of the stock compartment, which is really nice. Now we're going to head up to the front of the car and check out the batteries up there. Okay, so here we are at the front of the car, and as you can see, there's a lot of work to actually maintain the factory look under the hood here. So we've kept all of our batteries, all the high voltage cables, connectors, and fuses covered under the factory look battery box that we put in here. Behind the battery box, we have an electric vacuum pump for the brake system. The power steering is taken care of by the OEM system, the electric system in the MR2. And then we also have an MESDEA RM4 heater pump. And what that does is it heats the hot water for the passenger cabin for environmentals on those cold nights and stuff like that, so you still have a heater. That's pretty much it as far as the specifics on the car. We just kind of wanted to show the layout and do a quick overview of where all the components are. Now we're going to take a quick little drive around the block and kind of go over some more details on the car. All right, so here we are in our MR2. We're going to go for a quick drive around the block. We're going to show you a simple operation. Stick the key in and go ahead and turn it on. There's no starting involved because it's an electric motor, so we're currently on. You can go ahead and put it in first gear now and just give it a little bit of gas, and we're just going to roll away nice and smooth. So this is an incredibly fun car to drive. As I mentioned earlier, it's real torquey. You lean into the pedal and you can just feel it pull, and that's what we like. We like that instant torque. That's why we do this. We do it for fun. And great little conversion. This is one of our favorite cars. Plenty of torque. I just started out in second gear, and the car's pulling real good. Let's see if we can have a little fun in this thing, huh? Again, the great thing about electric cars is the instant torque, the low center of gravity with the battery pack, and I mean, fun to drive. All right, so that about wraps up our drive on the MR2. Just wanted to mention we have 38 cells in here. We're using the Thunder Sky 260 amp hour cells, and the car gets about 100-mile range, a little bit more than that, but I think this particular customer likes to drive it around and have fun in it, not drive it so lightly. We really enjoy that. We like to have a lot of power versus range. We go ahead and take this thing back to the shop now. All right, so that wraps up our quick drive and video walkthrough of our 91 MR2. Please follow us on Facebook at Electric Vehicle West or evwest.com for all the latest updates and all the projects we have going on. For EV West TV, I'm Michael Bream, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Michael Breen with EV West, and today we have a treat for you. We have a 1963 Volkswagen Classic Beetle that we just converted for a customer, and we want to take a little bit of time to show you some of the nice features of this car. Let's check it out. All right, so here we are at the front of our Beetle, and the nice thing about this conversion is we utilized the factory gas tank location. We removed it and created a custom battery box that actually uses the factory bolt locations for the gas tank. So we didn't even have to drill any holes or do any modifications to the front. And what we did was we managed to fit a spare tire in here, which is kind of rare amongst Volkswagen conversions. We also have our aluminum battery box up here that's custom made to fit in here. And we have our little marine board lid. I'm going to take this off for you, and you can take a look. We have our box in here, we have our fuse inside the battery box, we have our steel hold downs, and our 6061 aluminum battery straps. Makes for a really clean, really efficient setup in the front of this car. That's about all there is to see up here. I know some of you guys in the last video were asking to really see the batteries. There they are. Again, not much to see, but let's go take a look at the back of the car where the motor and the rest of the components are. If you've never done an electric car before, we estimate that this is a 1 to 2 week conversion with our kit. It's a straight drop-in kit, everything bolts in, and there's very, very minimal alteration to the car, and we really like to see that. So here we are taking a look at the dashboard, and you'll notice we really maintained a factory look. We just have one gauge in there. Just to the right of the speedometer, we've installed a Xantrex Link Pro, and of course this gives us our voltage and state of charge and other important details about the battery pack. Okay, so here we are at our rear battery box. This is situated right behind the rear seat, and it really doesn't take up much cabin space, so it's nice and convenient back here. We've currently got the lid off the box so you can see some of the detail work inside the battery compartment. All right, so here we are back at the engine compartment on our Volkswagen, and this is where this conversion really shines. We spend a lot of time back here on aesthetics to really make the engine compartment look clean. So we're going to take a look at some of the components. Starting at the top, we have our PFC 2500 charger by Elcon. Great little charger. We can charge at 110 volts and 220. This conversion is equipped with a level 2 J1772 charge port right here, so it's nice and accessible for the customer. We have our DC converter over here in the back corner, and then we have our liquid cooling, our radiator vents, and our pump and reservoir over here. And that liquid cools our Curtis 1238-6501 controller with our AC50 AC motor underneath it. So what we did is we really spent a lot of time cleaning this up. We have this kit. This will be available online at evwest.com, and you can basically do the same thing to your Bug. Make it nice and clean and mean as ever. All right, let's go for a ride in this thing and check it out, see what it's really like. All right, so here we are getting ready to take a little drive in the Bug. Again, no starting the engine, just turn the key on, put it in first gear, and we're ready to go, just like that. Again, we're not using the clutch. We don't have to feather the clutch when we roll away. It's a nice thing about this. You know, online we get a lot of questions that people ask about transmissions and why we like them, why we use them. We really prefer a car with a manual transmission. That way you can kind of adjust the gear to the speed that you drive and the amount of torque that you need at the moment. Generally speaking, you kind of just leave it in 1 or 2 gears, usually like 2nd or 3rd gear. You know, these little AC motors are so torquey you can actually start off in 3rd gear, which is kind of nice. That way you don't have to shift, you don't have to worry about using the clutch. We have customers that don't even know how to use a standard transmission and they have no problem driving an electric car, so that's kind of nice to know. So here I am in 3rd gear. I'm just going to give it gas and we're just going to cruise away. Again, there's just no lack of power, no lack of acceleration. 3rd gear will take you all the way up to 60 miles an hour in this car, so really not much of a need to spend a lot of time shifting and finding that perfect gear. You know, I got to tell you, in my younger days, I spent a lot of time in Volkswagens, but never liked them as much as this one. They were always slow and stinky, etc. But this car is great, nice and quiet, plenty of power. It just surges when you hit the pedal, and really starting to think I should be in a Volkswagen again. All right, well that about wraps up our drive in our 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. I gotta say, I'm really liking this car. I don't want to give it back to the customer, but well, I guess I got to. Anyways, let's head back to the shop and finish up this walkthrough. Man, I gotta tell you, before we get back to the shop here, you know, we have a lot of opportunities to drive a lot of different cars here at EV West, and this one, it just really speaks to your soul. It is just so much fun. There's something about it. It's light. It's maneuverable. It's a great little chassis. You know, Volkswagens have been around forever. Anybody can work on them. And this is a perfect platform for a DIY electric car conversion. All right, well, that concludes our video walkthrough of our 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. For more updates on vehicles that we're doing, check us out at evwest.com or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/electricvehiclewest. For EV West, I'm Michael Bream, and we'll see you next time. Hey, I'm Michael Bream with EV West, and today we're going to talk to you a little bit about lithium iron phosphate batteries. This is the typical battery that we use in our electric car conversions over here. This particular one is a Voltronics 160 amp hour. And there's a lot of talk about how dangerous these batteries are, how toxic, or how recyclable, good, bad, whatever, for the environment. So we just wanted to kind of look at it. We're going to cut one open today and take a look at the inside and just kind of show you guys what's going on with these batteries and how clean and how recyclable that we feel they really are. So let's go ahead and cut one of these open and take a quick look at inside of it. Okay, Okay, well that was easy. We just basically cut the bottom off of the battery. Here's our case. The anodes and cathodes just slid right out of it. Let me set that down there. So there's just a little bit of electrolyte in here. There's not much fluid. It's not like your typical flooded lead acid battery that's going to have tons of electrolyte. It's just a couple drips and a little bit of dampness. But this is what I wanted to show you. So we have a little protective layer there, and then inside we get into the anodes and the cathodes, and they're basically just a little carbonized copper sheet here, and then underneath that is a aluminum foil sheet. And it just kind of repeats this all the way through here, and that's essentially your battery. Now we get asked about the recyclability of these. If you look here, this is essentially just a copper sheet. You can see the copper, some of the carbon coming off there, and our two little terminals. This is aluminum over here, and this is copper over here. And that's essentially it. Just wanted to unlock a little bit of the mystery. A lot of people don't want to go cutting into their couple $100 lithium iron phosphate batteries, so we figured we'd do it for you. You know, there was a little bit of energy in the cell when I cut into it. We feel pretty safe around these batteries. I think a lot of the fear is just a little bit of fear of the unknown. So if you're bored and you want to cut into your batteries, this is what you're going to find. And other than that, if you have some dead cells, we encourage you to send them to your local electronics recycling. They love these things. There's tons of recyclable materials in here. The plastic case is all recyclable, so that will go to the plastic recyclers. This is a nice chunk of copper right there, nice chunk of aluminum, and that's about it. Hope you enjoyed our quick little battery dissection today, and we'll see you in the next video. With EV West, I'm Michael Bream. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.